It's the Let's Go Eat and Drink Show with hosts Jimmy Santangelo and Bill Allred. I'm your announcer, Zach Caton, and we're coming to you live on tape from the beautifully appointed Media Center at Visit Salt Lake. Wouldn't you like to record in a studio like this? Trust me, you would. They can't get me to leave. Maybe you can. Visit www.visitsaltlake.com. Our guest today is David Sant, the director of A Long Way from Heaven, a documentary film about the treatment of the LGBTQ+ community at Brigham Young University. A Long Way from Heaven does a lot more than tell the story of the Rainbow Y. It outlines the history of queer treatment at BYU, the good, where it exists, the bad, and the very, very ugly. So now, here are your hosts, Jimmy and Bill.
I'm telling you. How long has BYU been in existence? Since what,
1870s is when it became a...
That's the first queer that was at BYU, was in 1870.
Yes, 1870.
Yeah. I'll bet you any amount of money.
That's it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You know, it's like people get all... And I don't know, I was probably not the first one to come up with this, but it just dawned on me some years ago, and I say, you know, everybody is so worried about homosexuality spreading.
Yeah.
And I said, from the beginning of time, my guess is it's maybe 5% of the population.
Yep.
Maybe. And that's where it's always been, and that's where it will always be.
Yep.
You know, just a small percentage. What's the big goddamn worry about it?
Yep.
Some cultures,
Just
American
calm
Indian
down.
cultures, celebrated the femininity of. They felt that masculinity and femininity combined in one individual was of power.
Yeah.
Of power, and it's just beautifully celebrated. That's how we teach it in my household.
not?
You know.
Yeah.
You a student?
I was.
You were a
Graduated 2021, so
Okay. All right.
yeah, 3 years out.
You still live down there?
I do, yeah, right in Spanish Fork now, so just south of Provo.
The bios and schedule are front and back.
Oh. Okay, thank you.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
You're for sure.
Oh no, you ate a balut. That it comes up every once in a while on the show.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a balut one time. Oh, really?
Oh my God. Or pig. Oh, geez.
Yeah,
brain.
we'll get into that. You must have been on a mission somewhere.
Yep. Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I figured that out.
Oh my God.
All right, let's get this thing going here. Sorry.
Good morning.
You know what's terrible? And I was talking about this on the radio this morning. When you look at yourself before you leave the house early in the morning, and you look at your shirt, and you go, "Oh, there's some little water drops on it." Well, that's okay; it'll dry.
Yeah.
And then you get to work, and you're sitting there, and you look in the mirror at work, and you go, "They're still there. That's grease. Grease spots."
It's there
That ain't
forever.
water.
Hate that. Hate it. And I didn't have time to change my shirt, and they're still there.
That was me
Don't
this morning.
focus the camera on the grease spots on my shirt at all, please.
Zoom right in, yeah.
Now he is. All right, here we go. All right, it's another edition of the Let's Go. It's been a while since we've done this. A month? Has it?
About.
I've kind of forgotten. You're,
I've been across the pond and back.
yeah, and you're Santangelo, is that correct?
That's right.
I'm just.
Yeah, your co-host, Jimmy Santangelo.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Let's
I
go
thought you
eat
looked
and
familiar.
drink.
Yeah, I thought you looked
With
familiar.
Bill and Jimmy.
Yes, indeed.
Drink.
What is this drink, by the way, Jimmy?
This is a tonic. This is a natural tincture. It's by St. Hildy's, 5% alcohol by volume, so you can get it at Whole Foods, things of that nature.
Oh, you could. It's like it's a beer.
Yeah, it's a spiked tincture tonic, so all the ingredients in there are natural. The flavors that you're detecting are lemon and turmeric.
Yeah, it's good. All right, now we'll officially begin the show. It is the Let's Go Eat and Drink show, and thank you for joining us here. And thank you to our sponsor, Beehive Cheese, which I am obliged to read. In a league of its own, Utah's Beehive Cheese elevates humble cheddar to artisanal greatness with spirited flavors that spark conversation. producing award-winning cheeses that bring friends and family together. Beehive Cheese earned first place at the 2022 American Cheese Society competition and were named makers of the best American cheese at the World Cheese Awards in 2021, earning the Slow Food Snail of Approval late 2022. This is a very slow cheese. It's a very slow cheese. Beehive Cheese is one of only 7 American cheesemakers to be B Corp certified. You want to know what B Corp certified is? Look it up. I made Dawson look it up for me. You can look, or contact Dawson and have him look it up for you, because he did a very good job with that.
No.
All right, Jimmy, what kind of cheese is this?
This is their sea hive. It's got the sea salt and honey. It's encased on their mother cheese called Promontory. It's really nice.
All right, now we should officially introduce our guest here. This gentleman here who I've just met, his name is David Sant, and he is a filmmaker and director. Is that what you're trying to do with your life for a living?
Yeah, if they ever start making money.
Yes, be nice. He's directed something called A Long Way from Heaven. And I think, David, we should just start there. Tell us about what is A Long Way from Heaven about.
Yeah, definitely. So it's a film about, in broad strokes, the queer history of BYU, but it specifically focuses on the night in March 4th, 2021, when a bunch of students secretly went up on Y Mountain and lit the school's Y in rainbow colors. And there was a lot.
Were you among them?
I was not, and that's a great part of the story. I was so mad that I wasn't. No one told me about it at the time. So I wasn't there, and I got so mad at one of my friends because I found out later on that he had organized the lighting and never told me. He was like one of my closest friends. And I was like, I'm going to kill you. And he was like, okay, we'll do another one, and you can go and film it. Compromise.
There we go.
I was like, sweet.
So it was 2021.
Yeah.
Was it during Pride Month? Is that when or would it?
It was in March, so in the middle of the winter semester, but the reason for that was because the organizers wanted to do it on the anniversary of the day that BYU officially reinforced that there was to be no expression of homosexual feelings on campus.
Which was contrary to something that they had done previously, which had said we should be accepting of our homosexual, our gay brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
We should be accepting. Now we still think that this isn't a lifestyle that we condone, but we should be accepting of people. So they had said that before.
Yeah, it gets even more complex than that. Literally 2 weeks before, February 19th, 2020, they had taken out the homosexuality clause from the school's honor code. And what it had said was that, any behavior that gives rise to expression of homosexual feelings is forbidden by the honor code and will make you subject to disciplinary action.
So a group of activists said, well, we'll show you. We'll go light that Y up in rainbow colors.
Exactly. Like the paragraph was removed, and a bunch of students, everyone thought that they were like, oh, we can be gay now. Like that was the implication.
It opened it up.
Exactly. They ran to the honor code office and specifically asked the honor code officers, can we do this? And they said yes. Yeah. And so the pictures everywhere, people kissing in front of the Brigham Young statue.
Yeah.
And then on March 4th, 2 weeks later, they said, oh, nothing actually changed. We just wanted the language to be more inclusive, which...
Not the behavior, the language.
Yeah, the language, yeah.
So how long did it stay lit in rainbow colors?
Just for 1 hour that first time. Yeah, super, super brief, but the backlash was
Did people get in
huge.
trouble for it?
So they never caught anyone that did it until way later on. So as far as we can tell, no one was directly disciplined for the first lighting of the Y, but that was because a lot of non-students were involved and everyone contributed anonymously. It was all a Google Doc that got sent around, and attendees simply just signed with their initials. So none of them were traced back. At the subsequent lightings, there were police officers there.
Now talk about the subsequent lightings. How did this all come about and what happened? And just go ahead and tell the story of the film.
Yeah, definitely.
And where can we see this film, by the way?
So that is the worst thing I have to say in this whole thing is I can't give it a public release until January at least, because it is in the film festival system right now.
Oh, okay.
And it's not allowed to be public while you are applying to film festivals.
All right.
What I can say is you definitely should not follow us on Instagram at Rainbow Y Film. And you should definitely not DM us asking us for the link, because we will definitely not send that private link to you.
Gotcha.
That's not
Okay.
something we can do at this time.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
Like a true
With
Caesar.
a wink and a nod to a blind man.
Yeah.
A wink is as good as a nod to a blind man. That's a great old saying, isn't
That
it?
is a good saying.
So a long way. It's a long way from heaven. So what happens next?
yeah, so with just the film or with the movement as a whole? Because much harder to say for that second part.
Let's just talk about the film. You decide you're going to make a film about this, and your friend says, we'll do another lighting, and you can film it.
Yeah. So, I was so mad at him for not telling me. I guess it was because he wanted to protect me as a student at the time, so he didn't tell me that this was happening. And on top of that, I was very closeted all the way until my last semester at BYU. Super terrified. I'd never even participated in the big 2020 protests that happened on campus when the honor code changes happened.
Yeah.
I sat on the grass.
Did you feel
I watched them.
Did you feel conflicted about that? I mean,
Oh,
did
massively.
You felt like I should have the courage to be out there with these other people, but I
Yeah.
just can't do it.
Massively. I mean, again, this might be a little heavy for this podcast, but I was checked into a mental hospital in 2019, a few months before the protests, because of issues surrounding my queerness and my identity as a church member. It was horrible. So it took me my whole time at BYU to sort of work my way out of that funk.
Those are some heavy issues.
I don't know how do you still consider yourself a member of the church?
I'm still on the rolls. It's really hard to say.
You don't participate like you used to.
No, I go a few times a year. I definitely go with my family. Who are all very active members. Yeah,
and are they accepting of you?
They are
Mostly?
working on it, and they're doing a great job of making progress.
Good. Okay. So we keep getting sidetracked here. Anyway.
No, you're good.
It's a great story, though. Yeah.
So we go the lighting. You go to film this. Talk about all that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, again, my friend told me, hey, you can go light the second white lighting. Like, chill out. So right before that lighting happened, the biggest thing that actually inspired this film to be a feature, because initially it was going to be a 5-minute short film. What it was going to be was I record, because nobody had filmed the first lighting for security reasons. And so we were going to film this one, cut it into a 5-minute short film, and say, hey, if you're queer at BYU, we see you, we love you, we support you, we are here. But just before that happened, on August 23rd, 2021, big year, most things happened in 2021, Elder Holland, Jeffrey R. Holland, an apostle of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, delivered a talk now known as the musket fire speech, where he said, I would like to see a little more musket fire from the Temple of Learning in defense of marriage between a man and a woman. And again, I'm sure he wasn't explicitly trying to be violent, but that doesn't make it not wildly irresponsible for him to say something like that, knowing the demographic he was speaking to. Anyways, after that, we sort of realized we'd really hoped, we'd really been holding out that BYU was like inching its way towards progress, but with that talk, we realized like there was no safe place. For those of you who don't have associations with the church, Elder Holland is widely known to be the most loving, the most accepting. He's the most beloved leader of the church right now.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
Yeah, by a long shot, I think, because he frequently gives talks about mental illness, and about like being supported in Christ through times of hardship and times of marginality. And
He's the opposite of Dallin Oaks.
I wasn't gonna say it, but ironically they were BYU presidents, right after the other. So anyways, that's what was so crushing about it, is this man that we've been holding out, we've been hoping like, please talk about the queer community, please talk about the queer community.
Yeah.
And then he finally does, and it's horrible.
He must have gotten pressured into it a bit himself.
From looking at his body language, it really seems like he hated being there and saying these things. But again, that's what makes him so complex. Some of the parts of that speech were so loving and so supportive, and some of it was just the most vitriolic, dangerous.
Are you able to use some of it in your film?
We did.
Yeah.
We debated all the way until the very end.
I mean, not just quoting it, but
showing it.
Showing it.
We did.
So talk about the film and how it's structured, and it's so it's a long way from heaven.
Yeah.
A kind of a queer history of BYU.
Yes.
Where do you go back, way back in the day?
We do.
Yeah. What did you discover? Just some highlights.
No, yeah, it gets pretty heavy. The farther back you go, the worse it gets. The one thing that surprised me was there was no school stance on anything regarding homosexuality until the mid-50s. No one had even spoken about it, and so it was very much a don't ask, don't tell kind of situation. And then when Ernest Wilkinson became president of BYU, he was a notorious homophobe and began instating all of these policies one by one over the next decade. And one of the people under him that did a lot of the work to enforce those policies was Dallin H. Oaks. And so that was the most shocking thing that I found in this film, was that before Dallin H. Oaks, there wasn't any rules around homosexuality. It sort of was just a blanket application.
Oaks has always been considered a real hardliner on just about everything.
Yeah. I mean, that's his whole thing. He's maybe the most principled, disciplined,
tough.
by the book kind of guy.
Yeah.
And so a lot of those laws, I was just shocked that they were written by a guy that's still living. Crazy to me. So that was one of the shocking things I found out. We also went way back into the 70s when there were school-sanctioned electroshock and vomit aversion therapy programs going on for gay men specifically, where they would show them images either of naked men or occasionally in BYU-associated programs, pornography, and then they would shock them or inject them with a serum that would force them to vomit.
Oh my gosh.
As a way to try to classically condition them. And again, if this was taking place in the 50s or 60s and was isolated, I'd be like, okay, product of its times, awful, but I understand because people truly believe that would work. But this was practiced, as far as we can tell, until 1996.
My goodness.
Even though homosexuality was taken out of the psychological handbook, the DSM, in the 70s. Just the further back you go and the deeper you go, the worse it gets.
So the film, A Long Way from Heaven, is in. You're submitting it to film festivals.
Yes.
What is that process like? I mean, all over the world. I mean, there are hundreds of film festivals.
Yeah, it's just a hell of a lot of paperwork. That's all it is right now. I wish it was cooler than that, but
you just look them all up and find out the application process.
Yeah, looking all over the world and applying to as many as we can afford.
Copenhagen Film Festival. I mean, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Toronto.
And have you completed that process, and now you're just waiting to hear, or?
I would say for the most part it's complete. We've submitted to about 20 festivals so far. We want to submit to at least 10 more, but they have little windows when you can apply. And so you have to wait for the festivals you want to open up before they close again. You have to go apply to that. So
you haven't heard anything?
No, nothing back. We've heard back from one that we got rejected from, but the rest of them we don't hear back for months.
Well, that was the BYU Film Festival.
They definitely said, no, you can't. No.
Actually, they like me over there at the BYU Film Festival. They once let me screen a film about gay furries at the BYU Film Festival. The programmers loved it. The audience did not.
Where do you go from? So we'll leave this. Where do you go from here as a filmmaker?
So I've always been most interested in telling queer stories, and I am hyper fixated on sort of the intersection of faith and queer identity. I don't know what it is that I can't get away from that.
Well, you lived it.
Yeah,
I lived it.
You went on a mission for the church?
I did, yeah. I served in Hawaii from 2015 to 2017. It was better than you even think it is when I say I served in Hawaii, but
there could be worse places to spend.
There could be worse places to spend. But yeah, I've been just hyper fixated on that issue for a long time, and so I find myself only really being interested in stories that cover that. And so I'm working on more films, both short and feature.
You will do fiction stories, or you?
I do work in fiction, but mostly it's documentary. Yeah, I have a feature fiction script that I'm working on getting funding for right now that I've co-written with a friend of mine, and then I'm working on another documentary that's about a quarter of the way shot. So.
What did you graduate college with? What was your focus? What was your
documentary
degree?
filmmaking?
Was it documentary filmmaking?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Is it? Do you feel good about it? I mean, do you feel like you? I mean. I tried to be an actor for many years. I went to study theater in college and went to graduate school, got an MFA in acting, and that's what I wanted to do. And it was so hard, You see progress and then you go, oh, and I'm not making any money. What do I do? And then so I decided to do radio instead, and started making some money.
Yeah, there you go.
So how do you feel about how it's going? There's a lot of rejection.
Yes, yeah, it's a lot of rejection. It's mostly running out of money. I just have to laugh at this one in particular because some of the feedback we got, and we had a big premiere in Lehigh, Utah. It sold out like 500 seats. It was crazy. It went really well. But some of the feedback we got was, this kind of looks like a YouTube documentary. And I just gotta laugh because it is. You know, I made it in my bedroom on a MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
I shot the film, I edited the film, I gathered most of the material for the film. You know, it's just me, a dude. So like I laugh at that because that's exactly what it is, and I don't expect it to ever make money. So in terms of getting discouraged, I would say I am not yet, because my goals were completely different with this film in particular. Like in the future, I'm gonna be worried about running out of money and not getting funding and people not liking it.
Yeah.
But in this case, like with the resources we had and the time constraints and the fear that everyone had around helping us, I'm extremely proud.
People were really afraid to help you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We had so many people, probably in the dozens at least, say, I would love to help with this project. I just can't. I'm too scared right now.
Is there a lot of archival footage in it?
Yeah. I think we have over 1,200 pieces of media in the film. The vast majority archival. So.
It sounds fascinating to me, and I can't wait to see it. And how can I not see it now?
You wouldn't be able to see it by getting a link through our Instagram DMs or by messaging us at alongwayfromheavenfilm@gmail.com.
Okay, because you can't.
Don't do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
you
do
wouldn't
that.
be able to get the link that way.
Okay, good. That's good to know. It's called A Long Way from Heaven. It's David Sant, the director. I hope this is a big hit for you, and I really hope that you continue to do other things, because I think you have a certain sweetness about you.
Thank you.
And an enthusiasm as well, which I think is terrific. You said you went on your mission to Hawaii. I want to ask you a couple of quick questions about that.
Yeah.
Because it says, what is the weirdest thing you've ever eaten? And it says a balut. Did you get that in Hawaii? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tell people what a balut is. I know, but
Yeah, a balut is a fertilized and nearly matured duck egg that is then fermented and boiled. And you eat that.
yeah. Some people just drink the broth in it.
Yep.
But there is a duck, a little duck in there.
There's a little duck in there. Yeah.
And some people eat that too.
The worst part about it is that it tastes good. Like I have to admit.
That's what I heard. It tastes like it's a duck soup.
It's chicken noodle soup broth with a hard-boiled egg in it, and then there are feathers and a beak.
Now it says here you also have eaten pig brain. Why would anybody eat pig brain?
I don't know. I knew I was going to Hawaii on my mission, and I set this personal goal, which has been so bad for my long-term health, which is I have to try any food once. If I'm offered that food, I have to try it. And then I can say no subsequent times. And so, yeah, we're at this cute little old Filipino lady's house. And she's like, yeah, here, have this food. We call it denakdakan. And I was like, what is this? And she's like, boiled pig brain. I was like, pig brain? She went, not exactly. We take all the cartilage out of the pig's head and we mash it up like mashed potatoes and mix it in with the brain juices. And then you sort of eat it like a chowder. It tasted like how I imagined licking the inside of a battery would taste.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Congratulations on that. It was brave, and I'm glad you did it. And that's food you will not get at the Polynesian Cultural Center.
Correct. Yeah.
You'll get poi there. I know you can get poi there. I've had poi there, but anyway. Let's have a little splash of news, shall we, Jimmy?
Very good. Yes. So, little splash of news here. Beer-drunk raccoons terrorize Germany. Chaos reigns.
I heard about this.
So, when I figured you'd appreciate this story and might want to do a little documentary on it.
Oh, yeah.
Drunk raccoons have terrorized residents in Germany, according to a report from the Telegraph that called the drunken animals a plague on the country. The already uninhibited animals have been seen breaking into local buildings and fueling up on food and booze, particularly beer, and destroying property. Homeowners have reported thousands of euros worth of damage to their properties, as well as horrifying instances of raccoons eating their pets and fish. The rising numbers of raccoons wreaking havoc on civilians is leading many residents to become frustrated with the situation. Raccoons are considered native to North America and were introduced to Germany in the early 1900s. This isn't the first time instance of raccoon alcohol abuse in Germany. In 2019, a tipsy raccoon was reported making a scene at a local Christmas market. While the animal's drunken shenanigans seemed fun at the time, this more recent rampage proves there's danger in numbers.
I had raccoons, a plague of raccoons at my house some years ago. So we had cats that like to stay outside, and so we had a cat door, so they could come in and out, and there was cat food in the basement. The raccoons would come in to eat the cat food and just make a horrible mess, and then they'd fight with the cats. It was just terrible. I couldn't finally had to board the door up. So they kept coming around. So I hired I don't remember how I found him, but it was a Native American guy. His name is Paul Two Bears, and he was a trapper, and he came to my house, and he said, I said, I don't want them to be killed, and he said, no, I wouldn't kill them. I take them out and let them go, and out by the Saltaire and out in that area, and I just let them go. And he said, I've talked to the city council about it and to the wildlife resources about it, and they said these are they're not a species that belong here in Utah. They've been imported here. They're non-indigenous species, and so you should just kill them. And he said, I tell them I'm a native here, and so he would just let them go. But then it got to the point he lost him somewhere, and I found another guy, and the other guy said, yeah, I just take them out and shoot them. And I said, fine.
That's fine.
But they're smart because they finally get the point. They get the point. If you trap 3 or 4 of them, 5 of them, different times, the others go, let's not hang around there anymore.
Yeah, this is a bad spot.
I mean, they're very smart.
Has anybody seen Johnny?
All right, David Sant, thanks for being with us. Please, everybody, look for A Long Way from Heaven. You might, again, a wink is as good as a nod to a blind man. We've given you enough information about that. Thanks for being with us. It's nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Dawson, thank you very much. Let's see. That's about it. I just want to say thank you, all of you, for watching and listening. If you're doing both, you're suckers for punishment. If you want to contact us, go ahead. It's the Let's Go Eat Show at gmail.com. The Let's Go Eat Show at gmail.com. If you dare. If you dare, go ahead. Thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Salute.
Cheers. I salute. David, thanks for being on.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Let's Go Eat and Drink Show with Jimmy Santangelo. You can contact Jimmy at www.thewineacademyofutah.com. As for Bill Allred, don't worry, he'll reach out. Comments, questions, or angry complaints to the management should be directed to the Let's Go Eat Show at gmail.com. The Let's Go Eat and Drink Show is produced by Dawson Dow. Our theme music was composed and recorded by my work crush, Doug Wild. Recording facilities, as needed, are by the Visit Salt Lake Media Center at www.visitsaltlake.com. The show is a Double Plus production. I'm Zach Caton. Happy Pride.